Here's your question for you. Who is the greatest rapper of all time?
The most influential rapper of all time. Sold over 75 million records worldwide.
23 million records, just in the US. Not a big deal. Sold over 35 million all over the world, It's a very big deal,
Most of his music is for a cause. Mostly for activism against inequality.
He's a very influential rapper, Quadruple platinum holder. Certified quadruple platinum holder.
Greatest of all time, that's only one. That's Tupac Shakur.
What do you want me to say? Greatest of all time? It's no problem. There's nobody else.
There's no otherwise. Only Tupac. People say a lot of things. Somebody, especially somebody who smokes a lot.
Snoop Dogg it is. Snoop Dogg it will be. Whatever. It is what it is, man.
I don't know. That's
not me saying it. All over the world people say that. You know what I mean? Hip-hop. We all love hip-hop. Who doesn't? Hip-hop is a culture, an art movement that was created by African Americans, Latino Americans. Also, the name hip-hop is often disputed, and it is also argued whether the name first started from South or West Bronx of New York. While the term hip-hop is only directed towards rap, or in other words, rapping, hip-hop is characterized into 4 elements, and that is MCing, which is also known as rapping or rap, DJing, which is also known as turntablism, graffiti, and also breakdancing. Hip-hop is very diverse. You can listen people talk hip-hop, you can even sing hip-hop, and you can even see people wearing hip-hop. There's a lot of stuff going on with hip-hop. Let's say from 80s to right now, hip-hop has the same influence. Maybe there's only few people in the world who only know hip-hop as a musical genre that exists. Hip-hop also adds to beatboxing. So where did it all begin? In 1970s, the underground movement, hip-hop, was taking form. There was a lot of house parties, outdoor parties, everything was going on. And the main attraction in all of those parties was MCing. What is MC? MC is master of ceremonies. If there's a ceremony and if there's a master or if there's a person who's leading everyone in the ceremony, he's called the master of ceremony. In hip-hop or in these parties, there was one MC with one turntable. And the turntable guy used to be the MC. And particularly Clive Campbell, also known as Kool Herc. He was the one who pioneered the spread of hip-hop throughout the world. He was a Jamaican born. He came to USA, to Bronx, New York City, and started a whole new revolution in music. And there's also one more person involved, and that would be his sister, Cindy Campbell. She used to produce and fund back to school parties. That's the beginning of hip-hop. And eventually, as it evolved, people started listening to that music and started, rhyming to it. MCing, also known as rhythmic vocal rhyming. It's a rhythmic flow of wordplay, and it is delivered with or without any beat behind it. This spoken style was influenced by African Americans. The word capping, where men used to outdo each other with language, and it's just a sense of gaining listeners' attention, and whoever got the loudest cheer is a winner, technically. If you know Eminem, that is how he rose to fame. If you watched his movie called 8 Mile, it clearly shows how MCing or rapping was so influential back in the day.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. 1 pop, 2 pop, 3 pop, 4. 4 pop, 3 pop, 2 pop, 1. Your pop, he's pop, no pop, none. Battle, I don't want to win, I'm outie. Here, tell these people something they don't know about me.
In 1990s, there was a new subgenre that started the whole revolution around hip-hop, and that is gangster rap. And gangster rap is simply 2 groups of people, trashing each other. Basically, it's rapping, but here it's just a lot of people doing the same to each other. It was almost like a civil war between 2 cities, and it was always about East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, South Coast. It was everywhere, and there's 2 groups that maybe you can call 2 record labels that really started this rivalry thing going on, and that is Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records. Death Row, as you know, one of the artists was killed, and his name is Tupac Shakur. He's from Death Row, and the other one was killed later, and he's B.I.G, and he's also known as the Notorious B.I.G. He's an artist from Bad Boy Records, and they started a whole new rivalry between, you know, gangsters. And then came NWA. I won't say the full form of NWA. If you're so curious about it, you can just Google it. And then came artists like Ice-T, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and obviously the greatest of all time, Snoop Dogg. He's the best, man. He's the best. Still is the best. And if people ask me, if they argue who's the greatest of all time, I'm gonna say it's Snoop Dogg. Snoop Doggy Dogg. That's all. When you use songs for Thug Life, whose songs are you using? Not Tupac. It's Snoop Dogg. Come on, man. You know, gangster rap also had this very negative vibe to it. It promoted disorderly conduct, you know, sex and materialism and misogyny. And earlier, at that period of time, women artists were completely out of the game except Salt and Pepper. But later on, women artists, they tried to climb that ladder, and now there's this woman who's ruling all the charts and all of that stuff. So things have really changed. And the first ever blockbuster album was NWA's Straight Out of Compton. You can see that everywhere. It's on the t-shirts, hoodies, CDs, whatever. It's one of those amazing records from Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and everybody. And it was completely towards law enforcement, and there was a song for police at that time. And there's news that FBI wrote a letter to NWA saying that is not acceptable what you did. The lyrics of the song are very bad. And yeah, that's what hip-hop did. It was rebellious. There's no control over that genre. Whoever had power over that genre, they used it in a way they're either for good or bad. They just went all in. There's some amazing artists from back in the day, like you can name Spike Lee, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Tupac. There's amazing artists these days, NF and Logic. There's Wiz Khalifa and there's Future. There's everybody who's, you know, using this genre to either do good or sometimes either do bad. I think maybe I'll end it with this. I mean, with great power comes great responsibility. So maybe I'll leave that to you. You choose.
Hip-hop is not a genre. It's the term which represents the culture and the lifestyle of African Americans from the 90s living at the south side of New York in a place called Bronx. Now, hip-hop refers to a lot of things, and likewise, hip-hop music represents a lot of things. For example, the rhythm section. The rhythm section of hip-hop music is usually energetic beats. These energetic beats are made using electronic devices called the beat machines or the beat makers or MPCs. They use electronic as well as live drum kit samples in them. Now, this authentic boom bap sound represents hip hop music, the culture of Bronx. The bass element of hip hop music is from a beat machine called the 808. TR 808. It's from a company named Roland. In the last episode, I told it was from a Chinese company. It's not from a Chinese company. I received heat from that in the comments. It's from a Japanese company, so I'm sorry and gomen nasai. This TR 808 has a bass sound in its kicks, which was separated from the kick and used as a bass element later. That is used for the bass element of hip-hop music. For the melodic instruments, samples are used again. Now there are two ways to use these samples. The first is lifting. You take a sample of a song or any part of music, you lift that part as it is and you put it in another hip-hop song. You can either increase the volume or decrease it, or you can either pitch it up or down. Other than that, there's nothing you'll be working on that sample except for mixing and mastering. The second method is called chopping. You take a sample, you chop it off according to its transients, and then use it like a jigsaw puzzle placed in the wrong places but made to look beautiful. I know that's weird, but anyway, taking the elements of that sample, placing it in different places but making it sound cool using the boom bap beats is called chopping. Now, what does this represent? Sampling goes back to DJing. What's DJing? What a DJ does is he takes a vinyl record, he places it on that DJ system, he changes the speed of it playing and also the direction of the turning of that record. That creates new music. Now, in sampling, you're doing the same thing digitally. For the vocals, rather than singing most of the time, in hip hop, we see rap. Rap represents the MCing culture of hip hop. So that's too much stuff already. Let's make some hip hop music. So we wanted to do part old school and part new school, so we don't do injustice to both of them. We'll ruin both of them for you.
It's 55 minutes already. Still recording. Happens.
This for all the real ones out there.
Why did you stop? Let's go. There's a lot more in you. Push yourself, find peace. Success will find you. It went too early. Find people to gel with. Do things that you're well at. There's a ton who wanna bail out. Hold up. Don't listen to the world out there. Made fearfully, wonderfully. You're so real. Chin up, homie. Cash in on your dreams. Bring down to your past all your lazy schemes. Listen up. One last thing. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't as far as it seems. I'll never be this happy, yeah. I'll never be this glad. You don't wanna see me happy, you just wanna see me dry and sad. I'll never be the same again, and that's what makes you mad. I'll never be this happy, yeah. I'll never be this glad.
So that's how hip hop went for us. The old school and new school. The perfect example of an expression for a culture through music is hip hop. And we've seen how through each element representing the trueness of hip hop. That is, from rhythm, the hip hop dance has been represented, from the samples,
Yeah.
the DJing has been represented, and from rap, MCing has been represented. And as a best example of proper execution of hip hop music, it's Tupac, and who's the greatest of all time. As we've discussed and as we have seen, Tupac is the greatest rapper of all time, period.
If there was a chance for me to cap this tooth, I would have, but as of now, no. Because Tupac is dead, I am not allowed to say anything.
Anyway,
Thank you so much for all your support. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, comment, obviously. And yeah, maybe we'll see you soon. See ya.